If you're considering buying a home in Austin, Texas, you might be wondering whether or not you should stick with existing homes or venture out and buy a new construction home. It's definitely not the right choice for everyone to go with a new build, although the majority of our clients do end up going with new construction homes. I've bought 3 new construction homes in my lifetime. We've helped over 70 clients to do the same, but it's definitely not for everyone. So in this video, I'm going to give you 6 questions that you need to think through and ask yourself, and that can help you decide whether or not a new build or an existing home is the better match for you. So the first question to ask yourself is, what is your timeline for making a purchase? If you are on a very strict, sharp timeline of when you have to be into your new home, then new construction can be a little risky because there's often more delays due to the new construction not being finished on time. Now, if you decide to build from scratch, it generally takes about 7 to 8 months to build a new home from the time you sign a contract to when you actually get your keys. If you're building a more expensive luxury home that's larger, it could be a year or so. And some parts of town, like in the Lakeway area, it also takes longer just because it takes longer to get the permits to even get the home started on the ground. So if you're in a very sharp timeline where you have to be moved in by a certain month or date, then new construction can be a little risky. However, right now there is so much ready to move in inventory homes, more than I've ever seen since I've been in my real estate career. We just have an abundance of new construction inventory. So it is possible that you might have a home that's completely finished, move-in ready, that you could get on a sharp timeline. But if you can give yourself a little more flexibility and maybe have 2 or 3 months, you'll have much more selection because a lot of times there's more homes that are just closer to being completed. They're just a month or 2 behind. So just keep your timeline as a factor to help you decide if it makes sense or not to pursue the new construction route. Now, the second question to ask yourself is, do you have the time or energy to take on home renovation projects? Now, resale homes could be kept in great shape, but if you're getting into an older established neighborhood, just know that along with the older homes comes potential updates. You may need to replace an air conditioning system, a roof, do updating to flooring and carpeting or paint or something like that to get the home the way that you want it. Whereas with a new build, generally everything is brand new. It comes with a warranty, so you're less likely to have to worry about major renovations for many years. Of course, you may still want to personalize your space and add some character, some different changes to it to update it a little, but it's not going to be the same as if you are buying an older home that needs more renovation. The third thing to ask yourself is, how particular are you at finding a home? I have some clients that are pretty easygoing and you can show them, 10, 15 homes and they're like, oh, I like this, I like that. Yeah, I can see myself living here. And then I have other clients that are very specific. They're like, I only want this color cabinets and I only want this style of backsplash. I have to have a fireplace that looks like this. I have to have a yard that faces a certain direction or has, certain features and all kinds of things like that. If you have a very specific list of all the things you want in your home, then new construction, building from scratch could be the right move for you, because I can tell you there's no such thing as a perfect home. And if you're looking at all the existing homes online, you're always going to find things that you don't like about it. So if that's your situation where you just are very particular about your taste, you either need to approach it as, okay, I can buy a new home and get everything I want, but I just need to be patient and design it. Or I need to be willing to take an existing home, and even if it's not the right color or the right shape or whatever, maybe I can renovate and change some things to make it my own. And it's just a matter of weighing the cost either way to see if you can get what you really want. Now, the fourth thing to ask yourself is, where do I need to be located and what is my commute time from that location? So a two-part question, but if you need to be close to your work and you're working downtown and you want to be within 15 minutes or so, you're not going to find big master plan communities that are that close to town. You're going to find the older established neighborhoods, although there are some new construction builders that will build on infill lots. They might take an old home that's fallen apart, tear it down, and build on it. Those are usually going to be a little more costly, but we know some great builders that's all they specialize in, and it can help our clients get newer builds closer to downtown. But otherwise, expect that when you're in the older parts of the city, all the homes are going to be older. So if you want a new construction home, you usually have to drive a little bit further outside into the suburb areas. So you need to factor in, how long is this commute? If I'm willing to go out another 20 minutes to get to a home that I like, to get a newer home that I like, will I be able to handle that commute time? We have really bad traffic across Austin, so you need to drive from that location to where you're going to work each day. You need to look around the surrounding areas. Where's the shopping? Where's the grocery stores? Sometimes newer construction communities are lacking some of the convenient things that you would need on an everyday basis just because the area is new and the commercial spaces haven't gotten there yet. So I always encourage clients to look at the neighborhood, not just during the midday when it's, no traffic, but try driving it during rush hour. Think about, when are you getting up and going to work in the morning, and actually plan out those commute times and see if it's something that you can tolerate. For some of our clients, they don't mind. They might be able to have a flexible schedule where they can drive in a little bit later or leave earlier. And for other clients, that's a deal breaker. And so they are just determined that they're okay with an older existing home as long as it's closer to where they actually need to work. The fifth thing to watch out for is, what are the taxes and any other assessments? So here's something a lot of people don't know, but newer construction communities often have high tax rates. So I've seen some as high as 3.15%, which is really, really high. Especially think about if you were getting like a $500,000 home, that means you could be spending more than $15,000 a year on taxes. So think about how much is your monthly payment with the tax rate of those homes. Now, not every new construction community is like that, but in general, older established neighborhoods have lower tax rates. A lot of new construction communities will have a MUD tax. A MUD is a municipal utility district, and it's what provides water and sewer to the neighborhood. Now, these MUD taxes can be as high as 1% of your tax bill, and it's rolled into the overall bill. So that's why sometimes you'll see the higher rate of about 3% or so. The MUD is usually paid for with a bond, and it can last 20 years or so. So that's why sometimes the older neighborhoods have already paid that off, and the tax rate is lower. You also need to ask if a new construction community has a PID. A PID is a public improvement district. This is not part of your taxes, but it's a separate assessment or a fee that you have to pay each month. And a lot of people don't realize that it's there. So they might say, oh, wow, this community is new construction and the tax rate's only 2%. But then you find out, well, there's a public improvement district assessment, so a PID, that you have to pay every month until, again, it's paid off over the next 20 years or so. So that could add on a couple $100, $300 or whatever to your monthly bill. So in essence, your taxes, think of it as it's still a higher fee. You're just not seeing it because it's a separate bill. So that's something to always ask when you're looking at new construction communities is, what is the tax rate? Is there a MUD? Is there a PID? And just know all of those fees. And not every new construction community is that high, but a lot of them are. So that could be something that, again, could sway you to buy an existing established neighborhood. And the final question that a lot of people don't think about as being important, but whenever you buy a home, it's a long-term investment. You generally don't make money or build equity if you only live in your home for a year or even 2 years. You have to pay closing costs when you sell. Generally, our home values go up maybe 5% a year, although the last few years in Austin, our prices have actually come down. So it takes a while to hang on to a home. And especially so if you buy in a new construction community, because for years, if the builders are going to keep building in there, you will always be competing against those builders when you try to sell. So the worst thing you could do would be to buy a new construction home where there's still building going on for several years, and then you decide a year later, oops, I need to sell. And now you have to put your home on the market. It's now a year old. It has slightly used carpet, some paint smudges, maybe the cabinet colors that were on trend when you bought it are now out of style. So what's going to happen is that anyone looking at your home that's slightly used is going to look at it and then go to the model home where they're still selling houses and go with the new home. So make sure that if you are building in a new construction community, you plan to live there at least, I would say, a minimum of 3 years, usually just to kind of break even or come out where you're okay. But normally at least 5 years or more, you start building up good equity. And hopefully by that time, the builders are even, closed out, or they've moved on and their prices have gone up. But it's a very, very high risky move to buy in a new construction community and then sell immediately. Now, of course, you never want to buy and sell on any home, but just know that new construction can make it a little more challenging. What other questions would you want to know about buying existing homes versus new construction homes? Tell me in the comment section below, and make sure you subscribe to this channel for more advice about buying a home in Austin.